Well, that's that trail bed there. Grapevines, all the stakes, heading up to a pergola, latata, solsticeum, trellis. This one there as well, grapes on that side, hugel, compost in the middle here. Composting about 3 plantation pines there, dead ones thinned down. Asparagus off to the side, walking onions on the end, rhubarbs on that side's there. And I may plant raspberries in between each grape. Maybe not. We'll see what works and what doesn't. There's a kiwi trellis, asparagus to the side, rhubarb to that side. Kiwis will go down the center, get trained up and out over all that stuff. I'll interplant them with lots of different stuff. Big white pine here. Beautiful naturally occurring white pine, non-planted. So I decided to do a ring of blueberries around, but they're not doing that great. In fact, they're barely surviving. So they're going to get moved out into the residential portion of it. Let's go for a walk through to there. There's the garden house area. It's a mess in the fall here. All clean up, rearrange, and renovate. Create no waste, but find a place for it. Nursing beds there. That's where I nurse out all the crops that I grow to plant out on the acres here. Nice easy setup. That's the trough system. Ties into that roof there. That's the other section that's taken down for this year. It's closing up for the fall. And all those beds will get planted out. Just got some free raspberries from a friend of ours. And some sunchoke cultivars to trial out in those pots. Raspberries there. Those are just seedlings going to bed for the year. Some more hascaps getting nursed out a little bit longer. Seaberry beds. I'm going to overwinter them in their beds and then plant the rest out. Here's the chickens just dancing around. I guess the leaves are falling off the kiwi vines here, but there's the vine there. One of them. Another one. That's just residential stuff, right? Three of those there. They're about 6 feet of vine. Those are seedling cultivars. So I may propagate them. Oh, look at that peach tree. That's a nice selection, eh? It's also, I grew out some seedlings 3 years ago. They didn't do well, so when I overplanted them, I threw the root masses in here. And yeah, that may have even been one of the pits that I threw in there too, because it's a permanent compost kind of system in here. Composted mushroom garden. That tree did go way up. Yeah, broke off in half. It just stays right there. So these are all cultivar high bush blueberries, right? And strawberries there, and they really like plasticulture. I'm not a fan of plasticulture. I am a fan of blueberries. So, I mean, we're just doing it up. Still keeping it organic, no sprays or nothing like that. A little bit of mint. mint paste occasionally. When the gypsum moss got there, I just ring it around the stem there. Just make a pumice out of it. Oh. Yeah, we'll just expand this kind of strawberry blueberry gold into a plasticulture, I should say, in and around. Not too big on plasticulture. I do a couple trials in the fields with it. It does work to a degree, but I'm not going to cover everything in plastic. Not permanently anyway, right? So I did one row of Has caps in plasticulture. To a juniper, putting disease to it. Gave me a selection from my cultivars. I'll try to kill it. More apples there and onions and stuff. So yeah, I mean plasticulture, it works. I don't want to leave the plastic here, obviously, so it's going to go to a road at the end of life. But I mean, does it work better than just plain old? Not really, man. Same amount of growth. No fertilizer, no nothing. Just wood chips on these guys. They will go into a fertilizer regimen, like a small organic chicken manure pellet or something. Nothing extensive anyway. They may just do straight compost. And yeah, that's it. That's a house caps. Stone mulch works fine for house cap. The reason it works fine is because the stone will heat this soil up in the springtime, causing an early bloom and then a killing frost for most species, but not hascap. The flower buds on these guys are already down to like -10 or something ridiculous. So early crop puts it ahead of these guys, black grass and goldenrod and stuff like that. Gives us our early crop, then this stuff pretty much just goes to fallow. It's an awesome plant. Yeah, it's a bit much for part-time for a year, but we're getting there. So I should add that those beds there, I got these little 3-foot by 7-foot raised beds. It's composted horse manure, some subsoils. I mean, that's my composting system there. But yeah, I mean, I didn't spend too much on that. That's a bed of asparagus. That's the just emptied bed of asparagus that just got planted out. There's not a lot of maintenance with these style beds. Gravel runways, 2-foot runways, bed of walking onions there, half bed of walking onions there. I mean, all in, the plants, I mean, the seeds for these beds were probably a couple $100. But I mean, now I'm kind of capable of making all my own seeds and collecting all my own seeds. The asparagus actually is a mixed source. So I guess maybe I did save on that. Walking onions, it takes 2 years before the first seed set comes in. So I spent the $100 this year because I had the equipment here for free. So yeah, let's move these up. the production this year and bottleneck myself into a 14-hour days plus a full-time job in the garden. Yep, that's that. Okay, here's my reference for my test plot. It is the beginning of September. We're about 6 weeks away from frost. Just planted out this small section. So this was tarped so that I could come back at a later time and shape it. Same as the other one. Same as all of the other ones as well. For the most part anyway. They're all upcycled tarps, so didn't pay anything for them. And it bought me time. So we got grapes. These are seedling new cultivars, so they'll be an Azeri grape, numbered. And mints. I had a bunch of little rhubarbs and just grown out in Dixie cups, so I just ate those up. More mints. Lots and lots of rhubarb in there just to try all that out. Looking pretty sad, but I'll prune those back or let the insects eat them. Let the slugs have them, and then they should shoot up as they do like winter growing. And then those are the walking onions there around that log. That walking onion had a cherry seed left over when I overplanted it, so whatever, we'll see if we get a little dwarf sour cherry out of that. And then more mints on that side. Grape. They'll get trellised up eventually. And then just seeded with clover. So, I don't know, yeah. Overseeded, white clover. That's all white clover there too. It's beautiful. Look at that aster. Coming around to the end here. I thinned down the amaranth because this was all bare soil. Thinned down the amaranth and a little bit of the ragweed. Leave the goldenrod. Well, most of it anyway. We have lots, so I'm not too worried about weeding some of it. What do we got there? Cleaver, vetch, clover. Yeah, all the regular natural species here. Black raspberry there. I want to say red raspberry there. Might be a blackberry. I don't know. We'll find out. I'll just thin the ragweed down by hand for now. Leave some logs there just to feed these guys. And then, native natural plants and there. And then all the, permaculture goodies there. Yeah, we'll see how it does. One thing to note, I've tried planting in squash into these systems, or my wife has at least, and it just doesn't work. It gets overtaken with weeds, and there's no minimal management for it, so the squash runs into the pathways here. I can't harvest any of the pathways which I utilize to harvest. So I harvest all the clover heads with a bagger, and then I use it to mulch all the perennials and stuff like that to suppress some weeds. So yeah, it's not really good for annual growing, but I don't know. I'm sure someone could probably grow some kind of annual in there. Lots of awesome people out there. Cool. And I guess that's it. Well, I don't know, a quick little note of this area here. That's all my marginal, just high value areas, right? So that's all thin stuff down there from the old plantation that I'm removing and starting food forestry here. So this is going to be a prime area to sample new cultivars that are capable of naturalizing, that are also edible for humans and part of farm ecologies. So that's what the goal is. Naturally occurring edible species capable of taking over mass in the forest. Not taking over, but living in symbiote with existing native systems. these grapes. Well, maybe I'll do a quick tour. It's a first year grape. That's a cultivar. This is about 6'6". So that's got some good growth. I just let all that stuff go to like it just goes fallow underneath the tarp there. Soil's easily to work. There's lots of logs under it that are composting. It's actually quite dry under there, which is kind of nice. So there's the squash there. It's kind of a pain to mow around. The pumpkins comes out, and there's no management of this area anymore. So it's not really a fallow to finish approach. All this grass and clover that gets picked up, fed to the others. These here are my kiwi trellises. So I really don't like to intervene, but I had to. Well, yeah, for the next few years I'll be using DE just in the area around there. The reason for that is slug pressure, which is kind of my bad as well. So this bed here, it was all upcycled leaf, and then tree canopy just broken up into sticks and sawed up by hand, and then just kind of flattened out. So what I do here, because that was covered in leaves, it created an ideal place for amphibians and also reptiles. So the amphibians, mainly being salamanders, which do eat slugs, and then the frogs, right? But I'm guessing that because I leaf mulch this over top, and there's just the perfect habitat for them all here. This like the perfect habitat for slugs. The amphibians kind of called this place a home. So what I'm doing with the end of life tarps, and anyway, that's really why I don't like using the DE or intervening in any kind of way, because that stuff does harm amphibians. So just be cautious about that. That's the cautionary tale, right? As should be with anything that kills, right? The last thing you want to do unintentionally is kill or harm something. So all that stuff there is all the amaranth weeds, everything that's fallow to finish, right? This bed here was plucked in, I don't know, 30 minutes, then laid down. So the plot over the back over there that I just planted out, this is the tarp from it. This tarp's nearing the end of its weed life. So what I'm doing here is I'm building a nice reptile habitat, because there's lots of snakes in and around here that feed on the amphibians and kind of play part of the ecology, right? So this will get a gravel stone walkway, because I want a permanent path through here, because that whole the whole trellis system is going to be covered in a pergola of kiwis. Every stake here is a kiwi, or will be a kiwi. Every stake was planted as a kiwi, but I have to overplant, obviously. So yeah, so this has huge amounts of organic matter underneath it. I was thinking about running irrigation to these guys, just as a low energy kind of deal. But because I have the plastics and the channels and stuff like that, I can actually create just pockets so that I can capture the extra rainwater, and then it'll flow naturally to each plant. Underneath these tarps, there's a bounty of life. They're not in any way, shape, or form harmed by it, so it kind of pays forward, right? Reptiles go and live underneath, above on the in the hot months in the stone. That's a big stone to flip, but yeah. And then I just walk underneath here, and I'll be able to pick, or someone will be. Yeah. So that'll be my system. These tarps, as they come off the other mounds and get planted, will come in here. Then this gets permanent stone bed. Kind of makes it look nice architecturally as well, because I have all the boulders that came out just from flattening this area here, so that it's flat enough to run aside, either by hand or as I use it by machine. I use the machine. I say, can I do it by hand if I had the time? And absolutely, time isn't on my side. So as I build houses for a living, destroy forests, be that destroyer that capitalism needs me to be. I can kind of create these systems and show them that economically, yeah, we can do it without destroying.